Hey everyone, my name is Dr. Dolores Tarver. I'm a licensed psychologist here in Columbus, Georgia, and it is time for the TT Time with Dr. Tarver is a wellness-based podcast. It is not intended to be a substitute for a relationship with a licensed mental health provider. Yes, it's Tuesday. We're back. We're actually right before this holiday season of Thanksgiving, and so I just wanted to really drop in and share a few things with you all. I won't keep you long, but want to make sure that I got a few of these points in preparation for Thanksgiving. We have been talking in this series about just navigating some of the challenges during this holiday season. And I know Thanksgiving might be looking a lot different for people this year. During the time of furlough, some people made decisions to cancel plans that they would have typically had for Thanksgiving for financial reasons, or also just because they weren't sure what the airports would be looking like, and so things may just not necessarily be what you might have expected. And I know that can be disappointing for people. But then also that I realize that this is the time of year where a lot of losses happen. And so this may be your first holiday without family in town. I also am um, very understanding of the fact that not everybody has good relationships with their family. So you and your family may not be in a good space this year for the first time, and so you're trying to navigate the holidays. I also realize that some of you have family members who tend to take advantage of you and drop things on you last minute and have all these expectations, and so you're navigating those stressors. And this also may just be a season that may just be very difficult for you for other reasons. You may be a senior um, who doesn't have a lot of family. You might be someone who is away from home because of your job. You may be someone who is not in a position to be able to financially travel and see people. So you may be the person that's not around other folks because you may be living in a place where you don't have any friends and family there. There might have also just been some other things going on with regard to people's availability this year. So, want to touch on how to navigate the holidays when they weren't what you expected them to be. So, I gave you some examples of some things that could be going on. And I think it's first important for you to understand that whatever you're experiencing is valid. A lot of times we might feel not like we don't want to celebrate the holidays because we're in places of grief. And so we don't get excited about Thanksgiving. Our losses may have happened around that time. That might have been the last time we were with someone who we loved and cared about. And so Thanksgiving could just be that tough time. If it's not Thanksgiving, it might end up being Christmas for you because, again, there's just a lot of losses that happen, I feel like, between September and December, January. And so those holidays that fall in there just tend to be a little bit tough. You may have somebody who you lost right before, but you also may have someone whose birthday might be around the time that's no longer here. You might have had a relationship in this year. And so, how you thought you'd be spending your plans with that person that you love and care about is not going to happen. So, I think it's one important to just, again, allow yourself to experience that, whether that's sadness or frustration or grief or hurt or disappointment or irritation, because as I said, for some people, they're not in good spaces with their family members, and you may have been in positions where people uninvited you from the holidays because there might have been something that happened prior to the holidays, or you may have uninvited yourself because of some things that were said or done. We've talked a lot about how as you change and you navigate and grow into different spaces that sometimes people aren't able to grow with you, and so they may give you an ultimatum of that you can't come if you're going to present in a certain way. If you're going to bring somebody, a certain person with you. This happens a lot when there are like divorces or there are changes in family dynamics, and so we're quick to say no new people. We don't want this. We choose sides. This person can come. So if you're not going to come by yourself, you can't come, or You may just not like some of the dynamics. We've talked about that sometimes people will bring or allow people to come that they know have perpetrated acts of violence or theft or assault against people. And so you're deciding, I don't want to be in that space because that's the way I'm going to be able to protect my peace and move on. But because of that, then I might be in this position of potentially spending holidays by myself, right? So, one, again, is acknowledge those feelings. Two is really to create a plan for yourself in terms of what you want. Sometimes Thanksgiving or Christmas may be like any other day to you, and it may not be necessarily something significant for you. And so, you may not necessarily have feelings of isolation or loneliness on that day. But you want to do something that is restorative, right? So, that's point one. Point two, I guess. Point two is the restoration piece, that if you're not going to choose to be around people for whatever reason, or maybe that's not an option for you, then you do something that's restorative, that's rejuvenating. You really focus on your self care and your wellness. You're intentional about not just having this be a day where you don't engage at all, but what you're engaging in are things that give you meaning and purpose, that are healing, maybe some time of reflection. Maybe this is a time of quiet meditation for you. Maybe you are going to have your own dance party at home. Maybe you are going to have your own karaoke party at home. Maybe you have a puzzle or something that you've been putting off, a project, and this is a good opportunity for you to go ahead and set that time aside to get it done. There may be some things that you've wanted to make or create and you haven't made the time to do it, and this is an opportunity for you to be intentional about doing that. This may be, again, your first holiday without somebody you love and care about. So you may just want to be in a space of feeling loved and cared for and around things that are soft, that are reminders, and allow yourself to feel and be intentional and purposeful about that reflection period and allowing those emotions to flow. But whatever that is, it should be something that is going to pour into you in some way, allow you to be able to reflect, to focus, to feel in some way. Um, if you are in a position where you do want to have some engagement, but who you typically would engage with are not available or not options maybe anymore for you, and those are opportunities for then you to consider volunteering. There are a lot of places where you can volunteer for the holidays, where you can do something that's meaningful. There might be things in the morning, in the afternoon, different options available through churches and community organizations that will allow you to be able to be in the space of other people, but doing something that gives you meaning and purpose. Also, there are a lot of people that gather at restaurants for Thanksgiving because they don't have family or they don't want to cook. And oftentimes you can go into spaces, and if you're an N of one, that's just you by yourself, then you may have an opportunity to meet and talk with someone else who might be there by themselves. You can have some great conversations with people when you meet new people, when you're opening yourself up to being able to engage and talk. I would also say another option for you is if you have a church home, a faith based organization that you're a member of, then talk to the people there, because there may be some other people who also may not necessarily have family or friends around. You get to a certain age, and sometimes you are the only one that's around. Other people have transitioned, and so it may be that those of you who would be by yourselves for the holidays can get together and have a potluck and meet and fellowship together. It may be that if people know in your faith based institution that you don't have an option for Thanksgiving but would like to fellowship, that you may get an invitation to someone's home. That's also true of your work environment. You may have some coworkers who would love to have you over, and they just didn't know that you didn't have any plans for the holidays. And so it's also okay for you to ask and say, hey, like, I'm trying to figure out what to do for the holidays. I'll be by myself this year, the first time, and do you all have any recommendations or suggestions of some things? And then that may be an opening for people to say, yeah, you can come to my house, or we're doing this. We always go and do what do you call the laser tag? We all laser tag, or we go and catch the flag, or whatever the case may be. We have some fun things that we do for holiday tradition, so you're welcome to come and join us. Then there's also the option of you joining up with a group to go. There might be some people that are going to hike or a bike ride or some kind of physical activity on Thanksgiving, which could be a good option for you. There are some 5Ks oftentimes, or turkey trots and whatnot that might be happening on Thanksgiving Day. And so that's also an opportunity for you to get that physical activity in. So if you're like, hey, I've really been trying to jumpstart and get my physical wellness back, I see this group is doing this, and there are some other opportunities with them. This is a great way for me to connect with a new group, start some new habits moving forward, and being able to have that accountability, which is also another good option for you. It's also a time, I think, just for if you like a good show, if you like to be able to have some entertainment in that way. Often movies are available on Thanksgiving Day. There might be some productions that are available on Thanksgiving Day. So you want to go and check and see what's open and available in your area. There may be something that is playing later on in the day. There might be, you know, how they have you can see the movie at the car show. Sometimes people will just have a screen up and you can come and watch a movie. And particularly if where you are, the weather is pretty nice, there also may be some additional opportunities for music or engagement going on in your area. I think there's also an opportunity for you to connect with others creatively. And so there may be groups that are knitting or playing music or putting puzzles together, or gamers that may be meeting and have an opportunity to say, yeah, like we'll fellowship on Thanksgiving Day too, because we're also in places where we'll be available to engage, because maybe we don't have any plans, or our plans are later in the day, or they're earlier in the day, but then I have all this huge chunk of the rest of the day where I don't have anything going on. So let's meet up, and we can play games together, or we can have activities together in that way. So also looking at your friend group, because there's a lot of different ways to connect, because you can do that through video, you can do that through your gaming consoles, you can do that via FaceTime. So you have some options to be able to see people and engage with them even if you're not there. So you can have a virtual Thanksgiving. I'll sit down with my meal, you sit down with your meal, and we chat and chew, which is a good option for you. I also think that it's really important for you to understand that just because a person isn't your blood family doesn't mean that they're not your family. So a lot of times people will do Friendsgiving. And so it might be an opportunity where you celebrate Friendsgiving before people go to their respective places and leave. I mean, so you set that up so you have that fellowship opportunity and that opportunity to engage. You also can do it after Thanksgiving Day. So it doesn't necessarily mean that I have to be with someone on Thanksgiving Day. We may get together on Friday, and we may meet up, have a meal together, or have some other scheduled activities together. We might bake cookies together. For those of you that celebrate Christmas and like to decorate, we can have a decorating party, go around and decorate people's homes. You may also have some people in your area that the leaves have fallen and they need somebody to get the leaves up. They may be elderly. That may be an opportunity. You also may have some elderly people that live in your neighborhood, or people that you know that may be in a nursing home or in a care facility or in a rehab facility that you can go and visit and have Thanksgiving with them. So you have an opportunity to be social if you'd like to be social, but you also have an opportunity to be able to do mindful, reflective kinds of things if you don't want to engage. And it's not that one is right or wrong, or one is bad and one is good, or I don't have any other options, so I'm going to do this. It's just about you being intentional and really thinking about what you want to do for yourself. Some people rather have something at home and have a smaller group. So I'm not going to be with larger family, or some things have changed. But what I can do is have a more scaled down, smaller activity that we're doing here. We can be playing games at home. It doesn't even have to be a Thanksgiving meal. It can be anything that we have available. So it doesn't necessarily have to be cost prohibitive for you to feel like you have to have a turkey and dressing and all of the sides. It can be absolutely what you have. It's just about you having that time and that fellowship with people. So you can do that over some crackers and some potted meat. Y'all don't know anything about that. I'm telling about my Mississippi roots. So I think it's just important for you to understand that whatever the space is, the dynamic is that you have in your life, it does not have to limit you in terms of being able to engage and being able to enjoy your Thanksgiving experience just because it looks a little different than maybe what you thought it would look like, or because some things have changed and there are some new traditions that have started. And I know change can be hard for us and we can kind of struggle with that, particularly if things have looked a certain way for so long. But it is always an opportunity for you to create new things, and they're just different. Doesn't mean that they, again, have to be better or worse. They're just different. And as you are in different spaces every year, you can evaluate what you want that to look like. So, whatever your choices, whatever your decisions, we of course want you to be safe. We want you to feel loved, protected, and cared for. We want you to be doing something that is going to pour into you or pour into some other people, and that feels like it is something that you're doing by choice and not something that you're doing by force. So you have a very wonderful Thanksgiving in whatever ways you're going to celebrate that with whomever you're going to celebrate it. And I will see you after the holidays. Okay? Be well.